All right. So in today's episode, I have my colleague and dear friend, Cynthia Gamel, who also works in my office at Windermere Mount Baker. Cynthia, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. What a fun time. Love work. Love
Well, I'm glad that it was so good to see you the other day when we did the open house. But
fun. It was fun. We get to chat, have banter, help people look for a house,
yes, yes. And it was a
sell the
beautiful house.
house. Oh my God, that house was gorgeous with the views that you could just die for.
Yeah.
Remember the view?
Oh my God. Yeah. So in that, what was it?
Mark
Was it?
found his private place where he's going to run away to and live in forever and ever.
Yeah. So I think it was the attic that was converted, right? And
Yeah, a converted attic that was the perfect. You really could sleep. There was a bathroom up there. Yeah, facilities and views, just and outdoors. There was like a little what was it, like a little terrace you could go
yeah, so
hide
it's
out
like
there.
yeah, Little
It was
Terrace,
gorgeous.
great view of Lake Washington. Um,
North Seattle. It was
yeah.
all heading north. It was gorgeous.
So, uh, a couple things that I want to talk about today is, well, one is the market. It is just so crazy. Have you seen that TikTok video by Shaun Johnson? I think his handle is at Johnson Files, where he talks about the crazy market and the real estate market, and he's using an apple as a what he's selling. Have you seen that?
I've seen it. Yes. I love it. It's hilarious. I sent it on to a ton of people to watch. Like when people ask what the market's like, I think to me that is the perfect description of the market. You can't really get any better than that. My husband's in real estate and he had a good chuckle as well. It is perfect.
Yeah.
Are we going to show it here? Can we show it here?
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show it, but I think I can do it in post production. But I'll include the video because I think it's really good for people to see it. I mean, one, I think it's a good thing to laugh at because you just can't take this too serious. And I know that many buyers are out there are really really frustrated, but I think this is the best. Just like you said, it's the best synopsis of what our market really is today. And the craziness of it. I mean, um, I think the best line is okay. So the at what? Okay, so for people who haven't seen it yet, it's he's selling an apple, and he plays all the characters, and the apple starts. What is it? I think at $5, and
If you go back and watch that recording, you're going to see me dancing on it.
okay, oh my God, great. So your screen is no longer frozen, but it's like what he started selling the apple at $5, and as he's like the realtor, right? He's like, it's $5, and then the buyer is like, well, you seem
Minutes
pretty,
to make offers.
right? And he's like,
2 minutes.
2 minutes, and what does the other guy say? He says, well, you feel pretty confident about those $5, and you hear somebody in the background go like $10, and he's like, what? What the hell is happening?
It was just $5.
The best line I
And
think
it
is the one from California. He's like $125, and they're like 125. It's like or $100, whatever it was, and he's like, yeah, that's the cheapest apple that I've seen. Um, yeah,
or like when he's like, can you describe the apple? It's an apple. You know what an apple is. Like,
exactly,
get over yourself.
exactly. So I mean, I just think it's so hilarious, but I think it really just covers, what our market is like. There are, in my experience, and I'd love to hear what you're seeing out there too, is that individuals or buyers are to the point where uh, they just don't care. It's a house, it's standing, and it looks okay. They're waiving inspections, even if there isn't a seller procured inspection. So they're waiving inspection, they're waiving financing, and from some of the stories, from what I've heard of some people, some buyers, they're going, depending on the price, but I think this one house went 400,000 above asking price, and I'm just like, okay, I don't even know what to say to that. What have you seen?
It's so hard. I mean, speaking from the seller perspective, when you have listings, obviously our goal is to help sellers get as much as they can for their home. And we base it our initial not the sales price, but the list price is based in reality of what you're seeing other homes selling for. But that sometimes doesn't mean a lot in a market with the way it is right now. Like what we think the value is really going to be what someone's going to pay for the home. So it's really hard. It's hard to guide sellers, like, because sellers hear, oh my God, things are flying off the market and everything's selling, hundreds of thousands above list price. But you still have to be realistic, because if you put it on at hundreds of thousands of dollars over what you think the value is, it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
So there is that reality as listing agents that we have to help them with. Um, but because of the scarcity of inventory, there are so many high escalations on almost every home. I think the statistics we saw was it, I think this week that was on the east side market. I think the Seattle market, it's like 50% of all offers are coming in, or 40% are multiple offers,
Yeah.
which means that the price is being escalated. But on the east side of Seattle, is it 76%? I
Yeah.
mean, 76%
Yeah.
of
And
offers.
and what's interesting, because
Crazy.
I do have this conversation with clients. It's like, oh, there's not enough inventory. And I love that Joe, our designated broker Joe yesterday, that he points out that it's not necessarily just that there isn't enough inventory, because in comparison to last year, there have been more homes listed the first quarter of this year than last year. So last year we didn't have this issue. So we're having more buyers who are ready and willing and able to buy homes. So the demand is so high that even with the extra homes that are coming on the market compared to last year, there's still not enough,
There's still not enough, right?
yeah. And you're right, the figures, I think there was like 48% with the March stats, the 48% of homes in Seattle are getting multiple offers. And Bellevue, I think it's like 76, 78%, something like that. Uh, Significantly higher.
Yeah. I know I recently had a listing in the Seward Park neighborhood that, and it was I mean, it was a nice house. It was on a busier street. It really had beautiful views and beautiful land. And, but it needed a ton of love. Like it was just a home that needed remodel. I mean, it hadn't been touched in a long time and it really needed a ton of work. And, we got 9 offers on it and it went 27% over list price.
Wow.
I mean, I don't even know how we could have predicted it and it would have gone that high,
Yeah.
but it did because of the amount of buyers that are out there looking right now, and the lack of, even with more inventory, there is just not enough inventory to support the amount of buyers that are looking.
So I have a question for you, and I really haven't had a chance to talk to anyone else about this. So there's a strategy on pricing a home. What is the price that you're going to put the house on the market, right? And we talk to our sellers about that.
Right.
And the way that I do it, or that I've been doing it lately because of the market, is um, we figure out what the value range is of the house in today's market based on recent comps and recent
Right.
sales, right? So
Right.
we say, okay, let's say the house is,
Mark, can you pause for 1 second?
yeah. So I know that, so there's a couple ways, or there's a strategy in terms of listing a house and the price point. So what I've been doing lately is like, okay, cool. Like here is the house, and here is what the value range is for the house. So let's just say it's $500,000. $500,000 house. So we're like, okay, cool. So the top range of this house is probably about 550, and the bottom range is about 500. So my recommendation has been, knowing that they're going to be comfortable with whatever the price is, even if they don't get any offers in, but it's, let's list it at a lower number of where its true value is based on recent comps, to get more people to come into the house. Because if you list it too high, then people aren't going to come to the house. You know, they're not going to come and see it. And it's very different coming into a house and experiencing the house. That's where you love it or hate it. I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? And so we do that, but at the same time, we don't expect and we don't know what's going to happen in terms of the interest coming in. And that's where the numbers just start to escalate. And it's like, oh my God, yeah, we had, 100 people through, 50 people through, we're getting, 10 offers, and it's like, oh my God, what happened? So it's interesting from the buyer side that, when I'm out with my clients and, when we laugh about this, but when, we're out, we're like, okay, Mark, what do you think this house is going to sell for? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, right? It kind of shoots.
So hard to answer that question now. What do you think it's worth, and what do you think it's going to sell for? I mean, I think that we can, make a educated guess or estimate about what the value is, right?
Yeah.
Like whether we think the list price is on point, whether it's too high, too low, like we can make an educated decision about that. But I think if you're going to ask us what it's going to sell for, it's a crapshoot. I don't know. It's like you might as well have a pool going all the time in the office. Like someone can make a lot of money with this. I don't know. Online pools about what houses are going to sell for.
Yeah. And I think, and that's something common that I've heard from agents in our office, agents outside of the office, that even we are surprised as to the level of interest and what some of these houses escalate for, regardless if you're on the seller side, on the buyer side, yeah, I mean, it's just been crazy out there. I do want to share, I know that the market is just crazy now. I do want to share, a success story for one of my buyers. So, because that's really where, where it's tough right now for buyers looking to buy something.
Yeah.
So I started with this buyer about 6 months ago. And they're just like, okay, we're good to go. Let's do this. Mark, let's go see houses. We go see a house, right? And of course, when you start looking for houses, you're kind of conservative, when it comes to, what are you willing to waive and, your escalation and what's your real price cap. We started looking, lost the house. I think we went and we saw, I would say about 20, 25 homes. We put in an offer on about 8 homes and,
it's a
loss
third of the
after.
homes.
Yeah, it's like loss and loss and loss and loss. And of course, we're keeping track of all of these houses and we're like, oh my God, we can't believe that house sold for that much. So even houses, after I pull comps for every single house we go see that they're going to submit an offer on, we look at it and it's like, okay, cool. What is this going to sell for? And we kind of just guesstimate, right?
Right.
But it's impressive. Well, it's not impressive, it's just shocking to see what some of these houses sell for. I'm like, I don't even have comps. Excuse me. I don't even have comps to
it's
support
hard
that.
to find comps to even support what they're selling for sure.
Oh, sorry.
You okay over there?
Right, I'm choking. But but that's the other thing. It's like, people are waiving financing, and I tell them, I said, I have comps to support it escalating up to this price. After that, I don't have comps. So whoever's going to buy it, whatever offer is going to get accepted, will probably have to waive financing and waive, the appraisal. But anyway, they, my clients, they were totally awesome to work with, and they learned at every single step. It was just like going through this, let's learn. And they weren't taking it too serious, which I think in today's market is something that, that buyers have to do. It's just
you have to.
Right?
Yeah.
But I do have to say that, at this last offer, this house came on the market. It not only met their must-haves, but their nice-to-haves. And we got the house at list price, no competing offers. So
list price, no competing offers.
Yes.
And it's because it was after the review date?
No, that's even the thing. So one of the things,
Wow.
one of the things that that we started doing is right after review date, if the status didn't change, we're calling you like, what's going on? Did you get any offers? But this one, it did not have an offer review date. So that was hint number one. It did not have
Right.
an offer review date. So
They're
we
willing to
jumped,
take them as they come in then.
yeah. So
Take
we
it.
jumped on it
Yeah.
and we got it. So um, lesson learned, you know, stick it out. I mean, you do have to kind of kiss a lot of frogs, to find your, what was it, the Prince Charming,
To find your prince.
you find your
You know
prince.
what have you noticed this, Mark, with the offer review date? It's on the buyer side. I'm noticing people are not always sticking with it. Recently, I've had conversations with two different brokers, the same buyer, took them to two different homes, and reached out to the broker and said, I just want to know, are you honoring the offer review date? Oh my God, 100%, 100%. We're not taking
Oh,
offers early. Okay. Both of them, I get these messages. If your clients are interested, tell them to submit now because we're looking at another offer. I'm like,
well,
and you would think like it's gonna be so. I don't even think some of them are so far above the list price with what they're taking. Like I think
well,
they're better offers, but it's not like
well,
crazy.
at least you got the courtesy of, oh, we're moving the offer review date up. Please
Right.
submit. At least you got that. Um, so let's talk about that. Because I've been in situations where um, I call the listing agent as soon as my clients, are like, yes, we've seen the house, we're interested. I call the listing agent and it's like, okay, what's going on? Are you going to honor the offer review date? And they say, oh, for sure, yes, no problem. I'm like, can we submit something early? No, no, please don't submit something early. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm respecting the wishes of their seller because I'm assuming that's where the direction is coming from. And I come home, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm doing all the comps, I'm sending the comps to my client. I'm like, okay, let's really talk about this, let's strategize on the offer. And then they're like, Mark, what the hell? I'm like, yeah. They're like, the house is pending already. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I just spoke with them, they said that they are going to review it. So I'm saying,
I
at
feel
least you.
like a bit of an ass, doesn't it? Like, sorry, I hope it's okay. I just said that, but I feel like an ass when here I am telling my clients, don't worry, they're going to wait for offer review date, but and luckily I did get the courtesy and I have to call and be like, yeah, they're not, and if you're not even getting that courtesy, even more so.
Yeah.
I don't understand it really, but
And you know what? And so I know that sometimes on the seller side, you do get a compelling offer
right,
that sways the seller to change their mind. I'm like, this is a great offer. We're going to move forward and, not look at anything else, not honor the offer review date. And they accept
right,
it. Totally get it. But there's been a couple of times where, we're tracking these homes and we see that what they finally sell for, and my clients will be like, oh my God, we were willing to pay $50,000 more than the offer they accepted.
for sure, for
So
sure.
I don't want to speak ill of any of my colleagues, but for sellers,
Right. It makes it hard for, I know it's hard for the listing agent when your sellers are like, forget it, this is too compelling. Like we have to take it. And as on the buying side, when you find out it's right within your price range and you would have paid it, well, that just makes you feel like crap kind of because
it
you could have
does.
done that,
It
but you're
does.
being respectful.
Yeah.
It's a process and we know from being on both sides of it, we don't have the ultimate control over what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The sellers are selling their house and it's their house. We're there to guide them through it.
Yeah.
So they can listen to our advice or not. And we just got to
Yeah.
go with it.
And I have told my clients, because it's like, oh my God, that agent. I'm like, okay, let's kind of back off a little
Right.
bit. It's not the agent, because we're just doing what our clients are asking us to do. So we're kind of like the messenger. So
Right. It's true.
But we got to a point where we were just like, well, we're going to submit an early offer anyway. Just do it. But I have noticed recently that there are more homes coming on the market that don't have an offer review date.
I haven't seen that yet. You've noticed that where you've been looking?
So yeah, so the
Yeah.
two clients that I've recently, or the two buyers that I recently got under contract, um, neither of them had an offer review date, and we submitted an offer. And these are I mean great homes. I mean they've been inspected. The inspection reports came back great,
Right.
and I'm just like, okay, cool. On one of them, we submit. I called the agent. I'm like, hey, we're interested. We just saw the house. This is great. They're like, okay, great. We already have an offer in hand. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll get you something in. So we submitted the offer. It had an escalation, but guess what? This is the best part. The offer that they had in hand was an offer below the list price. Even when I did the comps, I think that it was priced on the low end, that the list price was priced on the low
That's
end of its
interesting.
value. So, agent calls me back. She's like, congratulations, your client got the house, and we didn't have to activate the offer review, not the offer review, the
The
escalation.
escalation.
And I'm like, why? She goes, well, the other offer was below list price. So my
It's
client,
great for your clients.
yeah, ecstatic about the whole thing. So I thought that was really great. And then, so there is hope. So buyers, there is hope out there. It's just a strategy.
There is hope for buyers. Don't give up. I
Yes.
feel like singing right now, but I won't.
Right.
There is hope. Don't give up on getting the home that you want.
Do you have a story that you want to share about, maybe a success story from your clients, sellers, buyers, anything?
Any stories? I went to the zoo the other day.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
before you go there,
yeah.
did you, since you brought up the zoo, did you know that at Woodland Park Zoo they are doing this exhibit from May, I think it was May 1st through Labor Day, I think it was, that I saw yesterday. They have they're opening this exhibit
Day or Labor Day?
oh, I can't remember.
Okay, yeah. Anyway.
But anyway, so this is exhibit that's happening in May, or starting in May 1st, and they have life-size dinosaurs throughout the park, throughout the zoo.
Remember they did that a few years ago.
So really, I must have missed it.
We saw it in actually in the Portland Zoo. They had that exhibit. It was really cool. A little scary, but very cool.
So
when you realize how big the dinosaurs are,
yeah,
and you're right next to them, it's a little scary.
so a plug, since you mentioned the zoo, so a plug for the Woodland Park Zoo. Go check it out on their website. They do have this exhibit that I just saw last night on Facebook on one of my feeds. So we're actually going May 16th. So we got
That's
tickets.
cool.
So we're going May 16th. A friend of mine, PaTan, the crayon lady, she also has an art exhibit of some beautiful artwork that she's done.
Oh, that's so
Recycled
nice.
crayons from Children's Hospital. So
And it's at the zoo?
yep, it's at one of their exhibit halls by the entrance. You can
That
go
is so cool.
and see the artwork. So anyway, just a sidebar plug in since you brought up the zoo. Okay,
I know.
so back
I
to
haven't
you.
been to the zoo in so long.
Back to what you were saying.
Back to real estate.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me right now, I'd say the majority of my stories have not been success stories, because when you're working with buyers, as we've said, it can be a little more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my biggest success story has recently been that home that I already mentioned that was listed under 800 and sold for over $1 million.
Yeah.
And it's a home it's just shocking. It honestly, like you said, sometimes you think us as real estate agents cannot be shocked, but I am shocked all the time.
Yeah. I think right
all
now,
the time.
Yeah, I think right now a lot of us, and that's what I'm kind of hearing from our office discussions and from talking to other agents, it's just the market is just shocking, period,
Yeah.
of what's happening. I know that it's much easier for sellers, and I'm encouraging a lot of my clients. It's like, at least reach out, and let me give you a property valuation of your home. So you have an idea of what your house is worth and what it could sell for in today's market. And maybe that will, maybe that would be the catalyst for you to make a change for, a big long dream that you've had. You know,
Right.
a client of mine, we talked last year, and he's also a friend. So he's like, I don't know. He asked me to do property valuation on his home. We did, and he's like, really? You think we can get that much for the house? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to promise you that it's going to go crazy, but I think we can get this. And he sold his property because he wants to buy a ranch in Virginia.
Gosh, how lovely. I want a ranch in Virginia.
Right. So I'm just like, I want a ranch, period.
Right. Forget where.
But it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like he took this opportunity, and it was actually a second home that he owned. So he took that opportunity, liquidated, sold the house, liquidated the assets, and now he can start shopping for his dream. So
I think it's also, I think with sellers now, I think us or asking your real estate agent to tell you what your home value is a great idea. First of all, we always talk about, you and I talk about, it's a great idea because if you need to adjust your insurance rates or anything else, it's always good to know what your home is valued at. But additionally, even like you said, even if you're on the fence, you're not sure you want to sell, maybe you want to sell, you can try it. Like there's no harm in trying, right? If you
yeah,
have, it sounds like your friend, it was a second home, but if you have these dreams to do something else, and one of the things to get you to that dream is selling your home, this is the market to try it in. I
yeah,
mean, we will have seller markets again, we will have buyers markets, we will have balance markets. Right now, it's a seller's market. And
yeah,
if you're on the fence, try it. It won't hurt. There's nothing
yeah,
hurts you in trying to sell it.
yeah. And and at least I always tell myself, at least get a real, market valuation of your home for you to make an educated decision of whether, what this could be for you or your family, because it could make a difference. Uh,
And I would say this is not to put down any online anything out there. There's a lot of information online. So a lot of times sellers come to their own conclusions based on their research, which we all do. That's right. Dr. Google is our doctor and he helps diagnose everything. But at the same time that you sometimes need to go to a real doctor,
yeah,
sometimes you need to talk to a professional real estate agent to get a better idea of what all that information means that you're
yeah.
finding on the internet.
So it's interesting that you bring that up. I just had a conversation with a client yesterday, and a very common question is, well, how accurate are the online resources that tell me my
Right.
house is worth this, right? And I'm like, it gives you an idea. I said, but I can tell you that before we list a house, we do a screenshot of this is what each one of those sites says it's worth. But as soon as we list it, within a few hours, it's updated to whatever we indicated that the house is worth. So uh, he had a good chuckle about that. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all the information comes from the MLS, you know, how it's filtered, sliced and diced and interpreted is different. Um,
Sure. For sure.
but the one thing that I've shared with buyers and sellers is, let's start looking at the micro market for what you're looking for if you're a buyer, because it's very different, because all the market updates that are in the news, those are general markets.
Right.
But it's like, let me know what you're looking for, and I can tell you this is what's happening with what you are looking for in this,
Right. In your micro market. Yeah.
exactly. And same thing with the sellers. It's
Right.
like, well, let me tell you what houses that look like yours or similar to yours in your area, what they are going for, so you have a better idea what the demand and the interest is. So,
Absolutely.
um, do you have any tips for buyers or sellers?
Always. I would say for buyers, this is the time in your life where you need to dig deep down, find that patience that sometimes is hard to find, and hold on to it. You will find a house and you will find the right house that's for you. And just because you lose out on maybe 10 houses before you find the one, you're going to find it. And just know that it's right around the corner. It's a long process and not always pleasurable, ups and downs, but it's a journey that will get you to what you want. So find that patience.
Thank
And
you.
for sellers, I would say same thing. Except the flip side is, if you're even considering, like we've said, if you're even just toying with the idea of maybe you should sell, talk to us. Let us help you figure out if it's a good time or not. And Mark and I can speak for other agents in our office, we're very honest and with our clients. And what I mean is, if we think you're not going to get what you're hoping to get, or if you recently purchased and maybe we think you should hold on to it for a few more years to let the home appreciate, we'll tell you. We're in it to help you,
Yeah.
and we're in it to be your real estate experts. So reach out to us.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really good advice. And I'll tell my clients, I'm like, sometimes you're going to like what I say, sometimes you're not, but I'd rather tell you the truth than tell you what you want to hear. And then later, you're making decisions based on information that, you're at least making decisions based on educated decisions. You're well-informed, that's the word, well-informed. And for sellers, what do you have for sellers?
Did I say my seller's piece? Mark.
Well, you said buyers, sellers. Okay, I'll do the sellers. All right.
Sorry, was I not supposed to combine them together?
No, that's fine. That's fine. So like for me, so I'll add to both of those is, for buyers, yes. One thing, when you're going to start, I always say reach out to 3 different lenders, for the pre-approval, because I have seen discrepancies between one lender saying, nope, you're not qualified, another one saying, yes, you're qualified. And it's like, I'm like, okay, well, that's a big difference. I've also seen closing costs. Personally, I have seen closing costs vary about $4,000 or $5,000 from one lender to another.
Right.
Speaking with an agent recently, the closing costs for her client were like $12,500 for a
Told me this story.
right? For a $350,000 house. And I'm like, that is
ridiculous.
Really high. So
right.
She encouraged her clients to go with a different lender, and they got their closing costs down to $5,500. So huge difference. So
$12,500. I mean, it's a savings of $7,000.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
it's a lot of money.
Yeah. So it's like apply with 3 different lenders.
Right.
I'm going to back what you said. Just be patient, about buying a house. There are houses out there. Make sure you know what you are, what are the must-haves in your house and nice to haves. And we know that those are going to change. For sellers, I mean, the biggest advice is, one, reach out to a professional. I mean, we do this full time, and reach out to a professional to get current advice on what the value of your home is. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. It's like figure out and listen to what they say. How can listen to the broker's advice on what can you do to showcase the house in a much better light. Put the best foot forward. If you do decide to list the house, what can you do? I have. What is it?
We're more than just numbers. We have good ideas. We see and have seen a lot of homes, and when we have advice, it's based in our experience of what we're seeing currently.
Yeah. So, I've had some success stories where, my sellers have invested a little bit in doing some updates to the house, and the price valuation on one of them, I think he invested about $12,000 in updates to the home. And there was a $75,000 difference on the valuation of the home just for doing that. So, we have the Windermere Ready program. So if you don't want to, pull money out of your pocket, there's this program that, helps you with financing some of the updates to your home. So that's available out there for you as well, if that's something that may interest you, to be able to list your home. I am going to put the link. I'm going to try to embed it into the podcast, but if not, I'll put the link for Mr. Shaun Johnson with that wonderful 1-minute video of selling his apple, representing today's market, and it's across the country because I'm hearing this from everybody.
I think he actually is in Utah, if I remember correctly from the video. He's not even in the Seattle area. He's in Utah doing that.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's interesting. My sister-in-law called me yesterday to talk to me. She's thinking of selling her home, and she was saying, should I do it? Someone's trying to convince her to do it for sale by owner, and I was like, you can. And I'm not saying this just because I'm an agent, but I would reach out to someone professional and get their opinion. Like, talk to us. Like, we're nice. We're not scary most of the time. We're friendly.
Oh my
especially
God,
if it's Mark and I.
Right. So I'll put those links on there. And Cynthia, thank you very much for taking the time to coming on. Do you want to do a shout out with your phone number, or if people have questions to reach out to you?
Absolutely. Mark, thank you. This was fun. I always loved chatting with you about anything and everything. Yes, Cynthia Gamel. My phone number is 206-396-2105. Happy to answer any questions and just chat. Very approachable, not so scary.
Perfect. Well, Cynthia, thank you very much. And
thank you, Mark.
I feel bad that I don't have your number memorized, but you got mine, right? Crazy. So thank you.
Give a shout out for your number too.
I mean, you totally can. But yeah, I mean, if you have questions, please reach out to Cynthia or myself. My number is 206-960-6275. We're both here in the Seattle metro area, covering Seattle and the East Side, and sometimes some of the outskirt areas. So thank you. Thank you again for taking the time. And I will see you at the next open house or some other event.
Some other meetings.
Right.
Next meeting.
Good. All right. Have a good one. Thanks, Cynthia.
Okay. Bye, Mark. Thanks.